politics of fear and hate are wrong. We love you and politics of compassion and love are right.
We are not going back.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to episode 25 of Raised Red, Living Blue. I'm Sloane Roden, joined by
Jason Will.
And we have a special guest today. Special guest, introduce
I am
yourself.
Tracey Stillman. I live in Dallas, Texas.
In Dallas, Texas. And you were also raised red, now living blue.
That is correct.
So your parents are like big MAGAs.
Big MAGAs. My dad, unfortunately, has full-blown Alzheimer's, so he gets a pass. Though my mother still votes, probably uses, she actually voted him, which I felt like turning her in. Anyway.
I would say that's voter fraud.
I would,
right?
Hopefully you don't have to get Alzheimer's to get out of the cult. Hopefully that's not the only way out.
It is the only way out, I'm afraid.
That's really sad.
But yeah, my parents were educators. Mm-hmm. Yes, my parents one had a master's degree, the other a doctorate degree.
So your mom, she thinks everything's going great?
Oh, she thinks Trump hung the moon.
So I got some bad news. Last weekend, I was at the lake. One of my MAGA buddies, we've been abstaining from politics for the most part. You know, it's little one-liners here or there, but it's very, very tame.
Is he the one that you would go like camping with?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were hanging out.
I think he made a TikTok comment. I was like, I think I know who you are.
Yeah, he's found us.
Yeah.
So, that's what it was. He found the show, and so he was.
Oh, he did.
And we were getting saucy, and I was just like, "So, how do you think it's going?"
Yeah.
Just checking in, just checking. He goes, "Well, I think it's going pretty good." Now, the follow up to that was, I'm not really paying super close attention to what's going on. Like, I've kind of been disconnected from the news, kind of just taking a break from it or whatever. And I'm like, okay, but he, I guess, has been paying enough attention to say to me that, things are going in the right direction in terms of gas prices, interest rates, things are going
Interesting
good.
about interest rates. I don't feel that.
Actually, no, not at all.
It is a different reality. And I was like, have you been paying attention to things like outside of the economy? This episode is going to be predominantly about the economy because that's where they're at. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what they base everything on. Everything else just kind of doesn't matter. We talked about Doge and how...
That kind of went away.
Yeah. Oh, let there be light.
He kind of disappeared.
Well, just what a failure it was, but to them it's still a success because we can't... The argument that he kept like anchoring himself to was that we can't sustain what we're doing right now. And so these people had to go,
Right, but yet the tax bill that they passed through the House yesterday or the day before adds $3.8 trillion to what is already $36.2 trillion. So how is that helping?
Yeah,
they're delusional.
They don't know, but the fact of the matter is that there's this pressure pushing them towards reality. You hope. I mean, there's going to be, if these policies are as disastrous as they say they're going to be, isn't there going to come a time when they just can't run from reality, or is the cult messaging so strong I think
it's too deep. I think it's just when your reality is not real, is not what's happening in the real world, and you are getting your information from one place or a few places that are all, spewing the same type of like narrative and rhetoric and propaganda, then you're just gonna, I guess, believe it. And when everything that you're consuming, everyone that you're around, and everything like co-signs what you believe, it's very easy for all of us to be like, well, they're saying exactly what I think, so it must be true.
Real. Yeah.
It's the hardest when you have to grapple with something that's different than what you believe, and so many people don't want to sit with that uncomfortable and go down that unraveling of, what I thought I believed might not be true.
Right. Well, to me, it's a surprise. I mean, the Republican Party itself, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that whole thing baffles me. Like, what happened to a moderate Republican? Now we just let these Republicans, they just do whatever Trump, I mean, it's bizarre. Like, it's really bizarre. Like, there used to be some moderation. There's zero moderation now. Now we've got Republicans doing whatever Trump says. Because
there was a very conservative author that Justin Jones, I can't remember his name, was talking about in the last episode, that wrote a piece about a lot of Trump's policies, his behavior, his rhetoric is very socialist. I mean, that is so far outside the norm of a Republican, stance. It's wild, but you're absolutely right. I mean, it's unrecognizable, which I'll give you a stat, and we're talking about this push to the middle, what it's being called. I think Jessica Tarloff is referring to this. I think I got this quote from her about the purple America. So 43% of the U.S. is identifying as independent right now. There's a disillusionment, obviously, with both parties. Trump's approval rating is going to dip below the Democrats' approval rating at 27 or 29%, whatever it is. It's barreling towards that number. But I thought that was a staggering stat, 43%.
I have to say that, he's full of shit. Seriously, if you can't see that Trump's full of shit, that's what amazes me about the Republican Party. Where did the Republican Party used to be an okay GOP, right? The good old party, remember that? Did you ever, in the 80s, I didn't hate Bush. I didn't hate George. I didn't vote for him, but I didn't hate him. Trump comes in 2016 and all hell breaks loose. And that's where, if you look back at history, the GOP went down the drain 10 years ago.
Well, it's going.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
We've talked about.
I think it started with the Tea Party, but it probably started more than that. But that.
The war on liberalism started way earlier, in the 70s,
right?
When things, there was this. I don't know. You might be the authority on this, but when did the Pride movement start to really take off?
Oh God, I don't.
The early 90s, right?
Early 90s. And so, but you started seeing this is the whole thing. We're seeing more diversity on television, more diversity in the workplace, and it scares the shit out of these white people. That's what it boils down to.
Well, just like your father-in-law, he amazes me. I mean, where does that come from?
Yeah. So, disabled veteran on disability and Social Security. I mean, his whole survival is dependent on the government.
Yes.
So, I'll joke with him and say, well, you're a socialist. I mean, that's socialism. But it's, who knows? If he could work, would he? I don't know. But he loves his life. He just, watches Fox News all day.
So is my mom. My mom's the same way. I mean, she's the same. Fox News is on from sunup to sundown. And I won't let her have it on when she's around me or my sister. We just, Fox is not allowed. But she believes that. I mean, have you watched Fox News?
I watch it a lot.
The propaganda is insane.
It's very Sunny and 70, and it's the liberals are these doomsdayers. They're just making a big to-do about nothing. They've got to get their panties in a bunch about something all the time. Forget Fox News. Follow the White House Facebook page. It's promises made, promises kept just about every single day. There's several posts about how great everything's going and just how awesome everything
Meanwhile, they're
is.
deporting people without due cause. That kind of stuff. Just sending people off to El Salvador to never be heard from. I mean, this
and the
stuff
lady
is crazy.
And Christy Noem not knowing what habeas corpus means.
Please help me with that woman.
Just
I can't look at her lips, first of all.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, where do these people come? I mean, seriously, Patel is the head of the FBI, never been in. I mean, this stuff is insane. But this is what
But
Fox
that's what
News
they
promotes.
want.
Yeah, when you have a reality star, the head of the free world and the Republic, and who was, kind of run out of New York. How do you bankrupt a casino?
I said that yesterday.
And had a fake university, but sure, he was on TV, so that makes him.
It's delusional.
The relationship with reality is yeah.
And yesterday, I said that. I said to Pat, father-in-law,
Yeah.
how does someone bankrupt a casino? It's a cash business.
He didn't want it anymore, he said.
Then fucking sell it.
He was over it. He was like,
because he moved on to something else.
Yeah. So he got tired of the casino business.
heard on NPR the other week, 70% of the land in South Africa is still by white people. I've been saying this for weeks. Like, they're going after brown people, but it's okay if they're white and from a European country. You know, let's open the doors for them. But of course, he's going to open the doors for the people, for, you know, First Lady Elonia. So like her people can come in there. But it was a fucking apartheid country. Like, they're going to be even worse than like what we are.
Oh,
It's cringy.
Yeah,
is what it is.
so
It's so
cringy.
cringy.
But we have so many problems. FAA, FEMA, Sean Duffy blaming the past administration for air traffic control issues, yet research his voting record. I mean, this is a lot of the stuff that I'm reading around the problems with the FAA were up for many votes during Trump's first term. And they were like, you know, we don't need that. And so now we've got this problem. They're like, oh, well, Biden and Pete Buttigieg didn't do anything
they didn't
about
do
it.
anything.
But they couldn't do it because they didn't have the votes. Because these folks were voting against it. Other just total hysteria, hypocrisy, lunacy. In 2017, Trump said that Qatar was a big-time financial participant in terrorism.
Mm-hmm. But accepts a plane from him.
Yeah. And
In
then
2025.
the context around this, we don't know what, like, is it a gift? Is it not a gift? Are there strings attached? Are there not strings attached?
I don't care. When you are giving something to somebody else,
They're getting something in return.
yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
maybe if I'm giving you $5, I'd be like, I don't need that back.
Right.
But if it's $500 million, probably something's going on there.
But there's an expectation of a relationship forming or have access in the future.
Totally.
All right, so do we need to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break. Before we get like too started, I think we need to say like who Tracey is and her relationship and what she's doing here. Like, we just like got into like
We did. We were so
Trump
excited
bashing.
to get into it because we took last week off.
yeah.
We're all charged up this week, ready to fuck
Yeah.
some shit up.
So Tracey is good friends with Diana and Jason. You were here for Cooper's
I
graduation.
was here for Coop's graduation.
Jason and Diana's oldest son graduated from high school this week. We had their party Wednesday.
That was
awesome.
fun.
It was a crawfish boil. I mean, just like so perfect. So much fun. The crawfish was so hot. I felt like I had lip injections.
Yeah,
Oh.
everybody.
My eyes were watering in bed that night. And I like wiped my eye.
And you got it in your eye.
Yeah.
So then I'm laying in bed with a tissue. But I loved it. It was so much fun. Real quick before we get to you, how does it feel having a high school graduate?
1 out, 2 to go. 1 down, 2 to go.
I believe that is probably a very different perspective than Diana.
She's a wreck,
Yeah.
I think, internally. She's masking it well.
Yeah.
Because it's all, it's milestones,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
pride, it's,
Her favorite.
joy.
Right. Right.
But it's also like, what am I going to do when he's not around every day?
Yeah.
Is there like anything y'all have like planned or that like you want to do or like any kind of like things that you're looking forward to this summer? Kind of like his last one, kind of like your last summer as this kind of like familial unit.
Yeah, but I just don't know if we'll have time to really do it because he's like we were supposed to go camping today and tomorrow because we're throwing a Memorial Weekend party on Sunday and he's got plans
went
with
to Atlanta.
friends. Yeah, he went
Yeah.
to Atlanta with his buddy. So we're like, but he told me he wants to go camping. I'm grateful for the camping because I think we're gonna camp in Tennessee and stuff while he's in college.
Okay.
I don't know what Diane's gonna do because I'm worried like when we have like family vacation. I'm like I had a reminder that he won't be with us for spring break next year because she was thinking, oh, spring break will be at the same time. So we'll just and I'm like, plus he may not want a spring break
break
with us
with you.
anymore.
Well, spring
You might
break
wanna
with
go
all
with
of
his
friends.
buddies.
Yeah.
So
Man, that freshman year spring break.
You can't miss it.
Freshman year spring break was my favorite. A whole bunch of my pledge sisters and I, we rented
Where
this
did you
house
go?
in Destin.
Okay.
But you have to think, I am a year younger than Natalie Holloway.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, we never went out of the country for anything. like senior trips, spring break. It was all domestic.
Okay, yeah.
Went to Destin, a whole big group of us, and your teeny tiny little freshman girls. We were piled in there. Like, I slept 3 to a king bed the whole week. Just waking up, making margaritas, going to the beach.
We did the pool and the beach.
Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Denver. So that first gives you a kind of a sign of where maybe my democratic beliefs come from, even though I was raised with Republican parents who were delusional.
Were your parents from Colorado?
No, we're from New York. So I was born in New York. My dad got his doctorate at Syracuse University. My parents are from just outside New York City. They both went to Boulder, University of Colorado. I did not want to go to Boulder. I wanted to get as far away as I possibly could. So I looked at Arizona State. I like those. But then I walked on campus at University of Kansas. And it's just such a beautiful campus. And I just felt at home. Like, you just know when you feel somewhere. And I did. And I chose KU, which was 8 hours from home. So they couldn't just show up. Loved it, but was raised in Denver. So, like, that's where I think most of my liberal beliefs come from, just because of where I was raised and who I hung out with. And
So you think, like, your friends had
a huge
more open minds and started kind of, were you, because I have been in a fisticuffs over, like, abortion. So, like, me pro-life against people that are pro-choice.
Yeah.
Like, I was, had a little bit of that baby killer brainwashing. I had a tie that I used to wear to Republican events that had the baby feet on it.
For real?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, okay, that's an interesting, so we'll get to, I want to find out how you flipped then. I never flipped because I think because of my friend, I think because of how with the friend, like my parents, I just thought they were whack jobs, like with their beliefs, right? So my sisters were very liberal. They went to Boulder also. They were 6 years older. One was 6 and 5 years older than me. Yeah. So I would go up to visit them when I was middle school, high school. So I got to see a lot of the Boulder-ish liberalism.
Kind of what years was this?
So I graduated high school in 87.
Okay.
So they were in college in the early 80s.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So, but I graduated high school in 87. And then I went to Lawrence, and Lawrence is very liberal too. Very liberal city. So I think just where my environment was just always around like-minded people, even though my parents were whack job Republicans.
So would you come home from college? And,
and I'd spew all my stuff.
And they would be like, oh, shit, she's being brainwashed.
Oh, and I would, oh, yeah. Oh, yes. My dad was like, you can't wear that shirt around here. And I was like, I'll wear that shirt. Like I was the youngest, so I didn't care. When you're the youngest, you don't care, by the way. Just that's why Cameron doesn't care. She didn't
What about your
two fucks?
What about your siblings?
So they're liberal too. So, but they were gone. I was the youngest child, but also an only child, right? Because they left when I was in 6th grade.
Yeah,
I've just always been an accepting human. Like I don't care what your sexuality is. I don't care what your color is. Just be a fucking decent human being. That's it. It's really not that hard. And don't be an asshole. That's it.
I feel like there was these times, let's say that like 50 years, it was like so very common for the parents to be more conservative and straight-laced. And then, I think especially like 60s and 70s where it was, especially like the women coming up like that wanted to be part of the like pro-women's movement and burning bras and hippies. And there was this time where like the younger generations were more liberal and the parents were more conservative. And I don't know like when this changed, but I especially think it's like has to do with, the creation of these 24-hour news cycles and how people started watching news as their entertainment. Because like my mom and stepdad had Fox on. We watched all of the shows from dinner until we went to bed. But at my stepmom's house, it was the same with CNN, and it's like, I feel like when that's what's on at night and you're watching it as a family, it kind of like permeates the whole household.
I would agree with that.
And so then the kids aren't having that like space, and there's could probably an argument like with like the helicopter parenting and things going on. So like there's not space between to like go out and observe and create your own identity.
And I think in my generation, because I'm a Gen X and I'm on the older side of the Gen X, I'm 56. My parents didn't discuss things with me. There wasn't like conversations being had. I have a 31-year-old almost and a 27-year-old. Oh, his birthday, I better get him something.
Any of those children MAGAs?
No. No.
Proud mama.
No, they're not.
So your siblings, your children.
My nieces and nephews were all on the liberal side. Now, my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, is Chilean.
Okay.
So he is a socialist. Like, he was raised in Chile.
Yeah.
So he hates Trump, obviously, but he's a socialist. Like, he truly is. So he's funny to have on. Oh my, he'd be funny. He'd be a really good guest for us sometime. But anyway, he's awesome. But most of us are on the Democratic side of things.
Well, I wanted to ask you. So I thought Colin Allred
Yeah,
was a
he was awesome.
fantastic candidate. I'm a Beto O'Rourke fan. I mean, I didn't think
Love him too.
I think Beto sunk himself when he talked about taking the AR-15s away from people.
I 100% agree, but the thing that I add to that every single time is if you had been in El Paso after a massacre, you would want to do the same. Like, context is so important, and like what we go through as humans and our experiences. I'm getting chills, sorry. Like, and our experiences drive so much. And Steph and I were watching that debate, and we were like, this is sinking him, but like, if I were him, I would be saying the same thing.
He's great, by the way. I've met him.
just-
He's fabulous. He's a nice human. Not that we're kind of going off topic. I know we're going to talk about
we always do.
economics.
We can't really
but
help it.
I kind of like to see
who
like
do
where
we-
it naturally goes.
Yeah.
And let's not force it.
So who would you guys support in the 28 election? I know who I am.
Liz Cheney.
You want Liz?
But there's no. There's no.
Andy Bashir.
I want Newsom.
Oh,
I want
fuck that guy.
I like Gavin.
He's a sellout.
You think so?
Yeah. If you have Charlie Kirk on your podcast, you're dead to me.
I like Mayor Pete,
I just feel like I
like Mayor Pete.
I like Pete.
I love
but Andy
Mayor Pete.
Bashir would have, or
I like Pete.
Shapiro. Bashir or Shapiro, I think,
I
have
like Pritzker.
the best chance to win.
We can't do another female because we just can't turn the tide.
No,
I agree.
When we've done it, we've tried it twice.
And
And, as much as I want that,
And I don't think we can have a gay white man. I mean, Mayor Pete
can't.
would be perfect, but like,
that's
He
why.
might be a
that's why I
VP,
feel like
maybe, I don't know.
I just feel like that's why Gavin, to me, I know a lot of people don't like him, but in some ways, I feel like I don't know who's our other. I mean, we don't really have. I mean, he's probably going to go to the top of the.
He's very
pile.
handsome and very smart, but California is a freaking mess.
Well, and I agree with that.
and a
I
lot
do.
of Californians can't stand him.
no, they
Yeah,
hate
and
most
he's trying
Californians
to moderate
hate him.
now after being
Yeah.
very, very.
Well, he went very far left during
Yeah.
like, the 2015, that era, but he is trying to move toward more. But I mean, who are we going to, I mean, this is crazy. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time will tell. And my kind of thing that I keep saying on here is like, we don't know what we're going to need in 4 years. And, probably these names that we're saying now aren't going to be the ones that rise to the top. I mean, think in 2004, nobody knew who Obama was yet.
Right.
So it just...
Right.
The interesting part to me is that what I'm really watching for, because I really feel like, as frustrated as I am, I say this a lot, is it's like, this is a pretty interesting time to be alive. I mean, I was talking to somebody in my office
What
the
a
other
glass
day.
half full guy. I appreciate that.
I'm depressed. I'm depressed.
I was talking to somebody in my office the other day, last week, because we were scrambling around. I was scrambling around to try to find a guest because Sloane was out of pocket, and I was having a crazy busy week, and I'm just like, well, surely I can call on these people, but everybody had stuff to do. So I was asking this guy in my office, I was like, hey, how you feel about politics? Like, how you feel like things are going? Like, maybe we could sit down and have a 30-minute conversation and just throw it up there. I just basically nixed it when we were talking about democracy. He said, democracy is a failed experiment. And I was like, okay, all right, well, we're moving on. But literally, my belief is, and I think it's pretty obvious, that the MAGAs don't want an election where, like, if there's future elections are going to be MAGAs versus MAGAs. They don't want independents. They obviously don't want Democrats. It's all about, we want Republican-led United States.
In perpetuity.
Yeah, that's what they want. So this is going to get real interesting.
Well, I could say that this is probably, in my generational time, depressing to me.
I never finished my thoughts on my conversation with my MAGA buddy because I was like,
sorry. Yes.
Because I was asking him, I was like, are you aware that they're whitewashing, like, government websites, history? They're just, there was just something recently that Trump just did, and he was like, oh, we don't need that. We need to be teaching that to our kids. I mean, what's the point? And I was like, do you have a problem with that? When is it going to be? When is enough going to be enough, or when is the pendulum going to shift to where you're like, I just can't get behind that? Because I mentioned to him, I said, hey, Joe Rogan has a serious problem with these deportations, with the way ICE is handling this. And that's big.
It's big for Joe Rogan.
That's big, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's big for, how big is he in Texas? To all these MAGA people.
The thing is, living in Texas,
Nobody really talks about
nobody
it.
really, first of all, Texas thinks it's its own place, right?
But to me, Texas is like an epicenter of MAGA with the governor.
It is, but it's hard to explain it to you in a sense that people in Texas just kind of do their own thing. Like, they really do. They may have their MAGA people, but like, I don't see that because I don't, like, it's not all over the news. I mean, unless you're watching Fox News, and then in case it is, but it's not really, Governor Abbott's they call him Governor Hot Wheels.
Yeah. I love the fact that they're calling Caroline Leavitt KKK Barbie. Did you see that?
Why do you think I call her Caroline?
She's KKK Barbie.
I never picked up on that. I love it. I saw the KKK Barbie and I was like, son of a bitch.
She's all but 25 years old.
Well, I asked my MAGA buddy, I said, listen, does it seem odd outside of Fox and Newsmax? I get Newsmax and News Nation confused. Which one's MAGA? Do y'all know? Let's just say it's Newsmax.
Okay. I don't know.
And OAN.
Yeah, so you got this small nucleus epicenter of 24-hour MAGA news. Like the rest of global news. The rest of I was like Reuters, BBC, AP. I mean, you name it. NBC, CBS. I mean, they're just all liberal, propaganda spreaders. But then you got this small 2 or 3 channels that are saying, "Oh, everything's great."
Right.
These tariffs are great. It's brilliant.
Brilliant. Right.
We're going to bring these manufacturing jobs back. I love listening to Pivot podcast because it's very focused on what our theme for today was supposed to be, the economy. But they made points about how a Chinese worker in an Apple factory making iPhones makes like $500 a month. What U.S. citizen is going to want to work in an Apple factory for $500 a month? And they're saying, the $1,500.
U.S. citizens can't live off of $500 a week. Bring what back?
You can't bring it back.
Exactly.
Or if you did, a $1,500 or $1,000 iPhone is now $3,500.
And Scott Galloway makes such a valid point. He goes, our society has evolved to higher paid, higher skilled service jobs that makes people more money, which then they can spend more money and leads to a higher quality of life. Right. Why do we want it? Okay, real quick, let's take a break and we'll come right back. So, story time. So last week, Steph and I and my dad were in New York, and it was a lovely, beautiful afternoon, maybe Thursday afternoon. Was walking through Washington Square Park. It was NYU graduation week. Everywhere there was graduates in caps and gowns, and it was even, we got off the subway at the NYU stop, and 2 grads were taking a picture in the subway, like where in the tile it says New York University. It was just precious. So we're sitting just, around the outside, looking at the fountain, having some sun on our face, and Steph is really good at like noticing and observing, and I'm just like in the moment. And she's like, these people over there are from Georgia, and they're giving this lady a stank face she's selling these buttons. So then I look over and I'm not sure what the buttons are, but I see a sign that says 10% of all proceeds go to the ACLU. And I'm like, well, I got to figure out what this lady's selling.
Yeah.
And they are all like themed buttons that I'm calling resistance buttons.
Okay.
And I couldn't decide which ones I wanted, so I bought 6. One for me and then to like give to my friends. So y'all can determine which ones you want, but these are the 2 I picked out for y'all.
Hold them up. Let's see what they are.
Okay, the first one says, OMG GOP WTF,
Yeah.
which I feel like would be Jason's.
That's hysterical.
And then this one is, if you're not outraged, you're not paying attention.
That's me.
Yeah, I feel like I did.
You did good.
I got a buddy of mine.
This is me.
One that's the trans flag, or the pride flag, and it says love. One is a picture of Obama's face. It just says, I miss Obama.
I miss him.
And I got one for my stepmom. She doesn't have it yet. Oh, sorry, Cindy. Surprise. And it says, elect more women. And then when I got for myself, it's a picture of Princess Leia, and it says, a woman's place is in the resistance.
Oh, I like that.
And I put it on my...
This is perfect.
So the woman,
this jacket, and I wore it all
MAGA real estate agent at the lake is now running for
In office?
like state house.
No. For real?
Yeah,
Really?
it's funny because she said, because her stance on, she's very anti-women in politics, which I think is, or
So very patriarchal of her.
well, it's, I guess maybe she's like, I guess women can be state representatives or congresswomen, but they shouldn't be like governors or presidents or vice presidents because they're too moody.
Oh.
That is a woman who hates herself and like really needs to, I mean, again, sit with the social construct and the patriarchal construct that you've been conditioned your entire life, but people don't want to do that because then you realize, oh, fuck, what I've been taught, what matters my whole life is not true. And that is so hard to break down.
And I think, interestingly, you say that. My nephew,
I say to someone who's done it.
who is gay, my nephew's gay, married another Republican, and I think it's, I obviously know my, so when I say my nephew, it's really my second cousin. It's my first cousin's son.
Oh, yeah, we do that. Yeah.
But because, well, my mom also raised my cousin Robin. But she and her ex-husband were staunch Republicans. And I think it just is ingrained in him. And it's like, but it doesn't make, it doesn't make sense. Like, none of it makes sense.
So kind of in observation of like people I know, but conversations with elder gays in my life, a lot of queer people my age and especially younger, the work had already been done for us. So we never lived through what our elder gays did, like with Stonewall and other riots and revolutions. My partner and I, like, we don't show displays of affection in public, but we've also never been outwardly like treated differently. But we also have all grown up in a time where it's not illegal to be gay anymore. Right. So like,
I mean, for today.
You're correct. You're right. So true. So like the young kids don't know how good they have it. Also, the people I know that are Republican and gay aren't married and they don't have kids.
I would agree
so
with
there's
that.
other things.
And I have a lot of gay friends that are my generation, right? A lot of them didn't come out until they were in their 30s. For real.
I believe it, yeah.
And one of my closest friends growing up, Paul. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Paul.
I'll never forget one day we were out for drinks, probably when we were early 40s. And he had just come out at 35.
Bless.
He said, when did you think you knew I was gay? I said, in the 3rd grade. And he goes, why didn't you fucking tell me? It's like really funny. Anyway, he didn't come out, but that was my generation. Like they didn't come out until like well after college. Which is interesting, right? But
until you like moved out of your parents' house and created this whole new life, and you could explore that and it not infiltrate your family home life.
Yeah.
And then you like can't be who you are at home with the people you are supposed to be your true self with.
But it's interesting though with my nephew. He's 32.
Where does he live?
He lives in Dallas, 1 mile from me. Literally 1 mile from me. But they're MAGAs. I mean, they're like he wears the hat. He goes to Trump things.
He's gay?
Yes. I have. Well, I'm going to say friends loosely. I used to be friends with this lesbian couple. They live in Dallas, and they are very, 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 very Republican. We stopped talking in 2020.
Well, do y'all ever get in conversation and go, well, you're literally voting against your own interests?
I let my children tell him that. I don't get in conversations with him about it. I let his generational people get in conversations with him.
How do those conversations go for you?
What you mean?
Like, you're voting against your own self-interest.
What do you mean?
Like, when you try to do it with Paps.
Oh, well, you just can't talk to Pat. I mean, Pat thinks he knows everything. It's an interesting dynamic because, his daughter, his oldest daughter, is like staunch lib.
Yeah.
And I asked her yesterday how she felt about her MAGA dad, and she goes, well, I love him, but the fact of the matter is he has no common sense. Literally, and he's just not a decent, deep down, he's not decent. He lacks decency and common sense.
Okay, we got some, yeah. Well, because I was thinking, my experience is when you come from, you're voting against your own self-interest, then that's not breeding grounds for constructive conversation and self-discovery.
I think how my nephew sees it and his husband is it's discerned, it's not the same thing. Does that make sense? They don't identify their Republican belief system with being gay. Do you see what I'm saying?
But we could come to a point.
No, I've asked the kids to tell me because this is the conversations that I don't have these conversations with them. Like I said, but my kids do. My kids question them all the time.
That's probably good. That's probably smart.
Right? I keep myself as auntie.
Yeah.
Come over for dinner. I'll make you dinner.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about politics with you because, first of all, I get incensed really fast. I don't have patience with people that are stupid.
Yeah. Well, and that's probably good because sometimes when it comes from older family members, it comes off as condescending and preachy. Sometimes parents can still have this tone of
right,
you're a child, you don't know what you're talking about. I think it's so smart for you to just let that be with the kids.
Yeah. I let them have those conversations. And they're in their same generation. I mean, they're same age, right? Now, Mitchell, my youngest, we should have him on podcast sometime. Okay. He's hysterical.
Let's go to Dallas.
He's in Kansas City.
Well, we can go to
Kansas. He's in Kansas City. He's at University of Kansas Medical School in Kansas City. But he's and his girlfriend too, are very vocal.
Yeah, I would like to go to a Chiefs game.
You want to go? Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, hang out with Tay-Tay.
Tay-Tay!
Tay-Tay! Eat some barbecue. And
love Taylor.
Me too. Man.
And record a podcast episode. That sounds like a very nice weekend.
That sounds like
great.
Very nice
we
weekend.
should, no, really, honestly, because him in the medical field and his girlfriend she's also ER nurse.
Okay.
So he's going to be ER doc. She's ER nurse. So just from that perspective, but very vocal.
I feel
very vocal.
The gay MAGAs really confuse me.
Yeah.
But and also the MAGA blacks, because basically the gay MAGAs, you're aligning yourself with a party that's don't ask, don't tell. We think you're going to burn in hell, but we don't really care if you're gay or not. Just don't bring it up and don't act gay. Certainly do not dress gay, talk gay. And then
but also, why does it have to be your whole personality?
Yeah.
And it's okay, well, you have lover of child of Jesus, wife and mother of 3. Why do you have to make that your whole personality?
Well, why do you have to be a hypocrite? That's my
100%.
favorite part of a MAGA.
Yep.
Least favorite, really. But
is what?
Oh, their hypocrisy is
specifically what gripes your ass the most. Can you put a finger on it?
When they are pro-life, they don't think about what it might mean to bring a child into this world where someone can't actually afford that child.
Yeah, take away the SNAP.
But then we're not going to be able to give them food stamps because they don't want us to have, you know what I mean? There's all this hypocrisy that goes on. It's insanity to me.
They're
there's
pro-birth.
There's just no intelligence. It's ignorance. It's terrible. And that's what sucks. How about maggots? Went on Washington Post. I obviously got some things off of NBC and CNN. I went over to Fox just to see if I wanted to see how the tax bill looked from their side.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Well, this is going to be interesting.
So I did. I went over there.
What'd you find out?
That the tax bill really doesn't benefit anybody, but the 1%.
It's
Population.
being
1% of
referred
the
to as the
1%.
largest transfer of wealth from young to old in the history of the United States, right?
Yeah. And also, the tax bill, well, this is from CNN, tax bill that they are proposing is adding to the deficit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which, tell me how that works. I have no idea, but it does. And from the Fox News side, they're saying that the lower income people will have a tax break. It's bullshit. It's not happening. Just so we're clear. So it's just it's the rhetoric on.
It's bait and switch because they're like, oh, we're not going to tax the tips. We're not going to tax
Yep.
overtime.
Right.
And so it's
Did
just
they
like
make that look like
it's
what
just
you
like when
want?
Doge was going to cut $5,000 checks.
Right.
All the were like,
When's that check coming?
yeah, fuck democracy if you're going to pay me $5,000.
Oh, I'm sure Pap was at the mailbox.
Oh
every day.
God. Yeah, but you know that suddenly was all over Facebook and then it's gone and nobody even noticed.
That's
but
because
continue.
it's such a smoke screen.
Yeah.
And just so you guys know, Trump only serves Trump. So all you MAGAs that think he's there,
He didn't give a shit about
he doesn't
you.
give two shits about you. And in fact, actually less than two shits.
I hate to
Anyway.
pause real quick and be a source of distraction, but it's in keeping. This comment is in keeping with the theme of like how we were raised and what we were thought to believe. Can y'all remember a time? Because Trump has been in the news media.
He was a Democrat.
Pretty much. I mean, he's been an outspoken person in the political space for a while, I feel like. But I can remember growing up that my parents' friends were all like, fuck Donald Trump, this billionaire Yankee scumbag. And
Yeah.
now they're just like all about it. But continue.
Yeah.
Until he got found out in New York. And now he's actually, I don't think he's even allowed to go in the state. I'm serious. Like, I don't think he even goes there. I think he goes to New Jersey on his golf course.
Yeah.
And his man tits.
Did you guys know?
Easy on the man tit. Easy.
You don't have any man tits. You're fine. Did you know that that out of 11 recessions, 10 of them were during while Republicans were in office? Did you guys know that?
Well, and
I learned that today.
if you Google or ChatGPT or Gemini the difference between red states and blue states fiscally, you'll see some very disturbing facts. Like blue states are, they're more solid economically. Mm-hmm. Red states, a lot of their economic stability, they're all lower tax.
Mm-hmm. Minus Texas.
Is going to encourage more, businesses to come, make it more attractive for people to do business in that state. Mm-hmm. But the majority of their revenue comes from like making bullets.
Yeah.
Well, but also the federal government subsidizing them.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
All right.
Because they're a blue state.
Please continue.
Red state.
I mean, a red state. Mm-hmm. Sorry. I didn't mean.
Yeah.
But Texas is it runs its own economy. So that doesn't really...
And power grid that may or may not go out.
Yeah, I know he's like, am I going to have air conditioning tonight? Okay. No, but I also, the tariff stuff, he doesn't know anything about what he's doing. Like, he thinks he's some sort of hotshot business guy.
Right.
And that's why the MAGAs also like him, because he's doing business. Like, he's a business guy.
Yeah.
You know, head from his
and
ass.
they have no idea just how important certainty is to the world of business, the world of the stock market, the world of trade. They just like, oh, he's just mixing it up. That's why they support these people coming in like RFK or Kristi Noem, these people that take these positions, Patel, who have they're just not qualified. Hegseth, they're just not qualified. Mm-hmm. And they don't want qualified people because in their
found out.
Well, and this is draining the swamp. You're getting rid of all these bureaucrats and putting them in with people that are going to have new, fresh ideas.
But like, God forbid we have like somebody in a position that knows what the fuck to do.
Well, but that's why they took them all. That's why Trump removed all those people, because then he would be found out, right? So if I get rid of all those people and I put in stupid ass people.
Yeah. He learned, you know, he put in people that were somewhat smart and qualified the first time, and they put up guardrails against him and said, no, you can't do that. And now he's like, well, now
I'll solve the problem.
Yep.
I'll put in, I mean, it's insane. But the tax bill, just to get back to the tax bill, because it is a huge thing. And it did pass narrowly in the middle of the night. Now it's going to go to the Senate. But the bad thing is that Republicans don't realize is that Medicaid could be literally, you're going to have to pay for Medicaid. First of all, people understand that Medicaid is for people that can't afford insurance. So how they're going to, anyway.
hence the aid.
Right? Aid, Medicaid, not Medicare. I think people a lot of times get those two mixed up, right?
Yep.
Medicaid could be gone from this tax bill. Food stamps could be gone. Student loans, no forgiveness whatsoever. That's part of the bill. Yeah. So
which is crushing people my age and younger.
Oh, 100%. I mean, my son is a medical student. Like, he worries that his next funding's not going to come through in July. He gets January and July funding, right? Okay. He worries every time. Like, am I going to get, because we don't come from, I guess his granddad would pay his tuition if we had to, but like, there's not like a gravy train of money running around. Anyway, but this bill though is scary.
Well, here's what I don't understand, because I think there is so much truth to what Alyssa said last night about her dad, her MAGA dad, that he lacks common sense and he lacks decency. And she said, she was so serious. She's like, I'll say it to his face. There is discussion, and this may be too far left, but that this tax bill, we could very well see the just total economic fallout. So I just don't understand, like, if American consumers can't afford to buy stuff, like, everybody loses.
Right.
It's just like, okay, so if you're a billionaire, are you just like, all right, well, they look at, well, this is an opportunity for me to squeeze as much out of the turnip as I can, and then I'm good. Like, our family's good. We have so much money. It doesn't matter if everything crumbles.
Think about a year ago where we were at, because we still had a Democratic president in office, right? Whether he was competent or not, that, whatever. That's what the MAGAs would like.
Well, I think that's even just a greater testament of, like, surrounding yourself with great people, because, shit. FDR was not in the greatest shape. Right. And people didn't even know he couldn't walk for the longest time.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. We had all that. That's all gone now. Like, whether Biden was coherent enough or whatever, did I think he was declining? Absolutely. He's an old man.
Yeah.
But, like, now it's like, if we were here a year ago, we would, like, the scariness wasn't. Now it's like, and I forgot a lot of the scariness I had with Trump the first time. First of all, I didn't get out of bed for a week after he.
Well, he was surrounded by people that had sense. Yeah. In a lot of cases.
But then this time,
he didn't do much.
This time he's surrounded by yes men who are crazier than he is.
Well, that's why he did
like that. Stephen Miller's even. This guy's off the charts.
Because he's a dictator, and that's what. But
that's what he would like.
But so, like, this whole smokescreen tariff thing, I honestly think he's just doing it to smokescreen.
All right, listen to this. Trump has changed his stance on tariffs, his policy around tariffs 50 times since he took office. 50 times, and counting.
He's a smokescreen. He's over there getting airplanes from Qatar. It's so crazy to me that this is how we are living. Like, this is, and the MAGAs think it's so, like, it's like your father-in-law. I love him as a human because I think he's hysterical, but, like, Pap, you do realize that you could be without your benefits. If he continues down the path that we're going, you could be fucked.
I disagree with Naomi Biden, who said that Jake Tapper is contributing to our national nightmare with this book, and that it was a farce. A lot of it was fake news or whatever. I disagree with this because I feel like, it was obvious. It was so obvious to everybody, and we just need to own it and move on.
Okay, I think, I'm glad you brought this up. It's like, Was this the time to release that? Probably not. It is a very important conversation that has to be had. Like there are members of Congress, and it could be probably because, I mean, he's not my representative and I wasn't paying attention, but when Jerry Connolly died this week, I was like, he had esophagus cancer? And he was chair of the House Appropriations Committee? And what might not be that one, but he was chair of it, and he ran against AOC, and the Democratic establishment did not want AOC to be chair. They wanted him to be chair. And it's like, well, was he competent? Was he in good health? Yeah. We've had all these conversations about Dianne Feinstein as well. So like, it's not just Biden. It's not just us. It is across the board. And we have I'm to the point now, like, I believe in term limits and making sure people aren't just up in Washington collecting a paycheck, which makes me sound really MAGA right now. But like, two things can be true at one time. Is this, and I kind of got in a text conversation about somebody about the book, and it was like, the response was, this is a distraction and is not the thing we need to be talking about. But then in the text before, this person was like, something about like, our democracy is threatened. And I'm like, I can't continue to like bring up things. And I feel like the response I get from everyone is, that's a distraction where that's truly happening. And it's like, but like, no, but all of these things are problems.
Exactly.
They can't all be distractions when like, this is a true problem that we had with the president, but we have across all elected officials. And usually it takes the person at the top with the face the most public for it to be like, oh fuck, we got to make some changes.
Yeah.
Which goes to show and I'm going to go back to, gerrymandering is a problem. It's not just a problem for, let's say Alabama, where the city of Birmingham is gerrymandered to hell and back, and we, can't really have like true and fair elections because of the way that they draw the map to ensure that Republicans continue to get voted in. It happens within parties, and these established incumbents can't, they have a leg up and new blood can't come in. I mean, so there's a problem all across the board, and Tapper book is the tip of the iceberg.
I agree. My point is a little bit overarching, where I'm just talking about the narratives we're having on the left, the lines in the sands that we're drawing, the soapboxes that we're getting on. I mean, it just contributes to the narrative about how the left is just Looney Tunes. I mean, it just comes off as Looney Tunes when, his granddaughter is coming out and going, this book is bullshit. When we all watched that freaking debate where he just totally brain farted because he's old as dirt.
Well, and I mean, unfortunately, this old man white thing still rears its ugly head.
Yep.
How we got Obama for 8 years? Bless, right? But this narrative of old white men running our country is still the problem.
Yep.
And at the time when Biden and Trump were running against each other, 2020, right? I voted for Biden. I mean, obviously because I'm a Trump hater, but like, I didn't love voting for Biden. Like, I don't think he's I think he's been a great service person over his years. I did think he was probably too old. I mean, there should be term limits and there should be age limits of running. Well, we're not even like in the top world economy anymore. I think China's probably beating us. I don't know.
Well, it's like 3/4 of the Congresses can be characterized as elderly.
Yes.
And so there's no surprise that they are creating and enacting legislation that serves the benefits of the elderly.
Yep.
And they're not creating forward-facing, legislation that's going to actually benefit the future generations.
Well, that's what scares me from like my kids. Like, it's scary. Like, I mean, like, what does that look like for them? Like, I'm going to be gone soon, so whatever. But like, for them to carry on, it's not great.
Which is also a reason people aren't having kids.
Oh, 100%. That's why the birth...
there's many many reasons people are choosing not to have kids, but that is one of them.
All right.
100%. And how expensive it is.
I am taking the reins.
Okay.
And ending this podcast.
Okay.
On this note, okay? Justin Jones.
Your buddy. Friend of the pod.
One of the biggest, I think my biggest takeaway from our episode the week before last was that we're in a humanitarian crisis. I think we can sum this all up because he mentioned when he was talking about humanitarian crisis, he was really talking about Trump, Netanyahu, and Putin. But LGBTQ, the economy, the environment.
Yep.
I mean, shit, these storms. I mean,
They're scary.
Andy Bashir's state looks like Ukraine.
Yeah.
In a lot of areas. So I think that's the point, is that we, the majority of the people who have, they're still maintaining some semblance of sanity on the left are like, we're in a humanitarian crisis, and the right is like, you're conspiracy theorists, doom and gloomers, doomsdayers, just go take a pill, libtard,
Right.
and relax because we got this.
Right. Oh, yes. Right. They're going to, getting rid of FEMA? What? Insanity. That's insanity in itself. Like, who's going to help these people? And I think there's people that have not gotten help from these tornadoes and whatever happened in North Carolina last year or whatever.
He's denying funds to blue states.
Yep.
Yes.
That's been happening. And
Newsom had to go kiss the ring so they could get money for the wildfires.
But there'll be a meme that comes out with like Elon with his pants rolled up, wading through floodwaters with, two black babies in his arms. One might be gay, one
AI
might be
generated,
trans.
right?
Yeah. And it'll be posted on social media and they'll be like, oh my God,
he's
Elon's
doing-
such a fucking
he's so
fine
awesome.
American. Or
Right.
whatever
By the
he-
way, he's not American.
whatever he is.
South
Human.
African.
Is he South African? I thought he was Swedish. I don't know.
South African.
He's
Yeah,
South
that's why
African.
these people are. That's why
Is he really?
That's
How
why
did I not know that?
That's why these people are coming over to South Africa.
For some reason, I thought he was Swedish. I don't know. That's how much I, pay
think-
attention to that guy.
I think like maybe somebody somewhere in the, but
He's white, elitist, racist,
Oh,
MF.
I
All right,
don't.
Sloane, read us out. Tell everybody where they can find us. I'm
Everybody-
glad we got to speak on the economy for 60 seconds.
Right, everybody, thanks for joining us. Again, you can find us where you love podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and full video versions are uploaded to YouTube. Connect with us socially on Instagram and TikTok. Happy summer. Drink water, get outside, get sunshine, and keep out the fight. Keep up the fight. We will see y'all next week.
Oh, quick plug before we go. Tracey is a loan officer in the state of Texas. If you want to buy a house, a condo,
I'm here to help you. I'm actually licensed in 10 states.
how can they find you? Do you have
They can find me at StillmanBiggersTeam.com. Diana came up with my
Baker's
Stillman's
team.
Bigger?
Stillman Biggers. That's my son.
Stillman Biggers.
StillmanBiggersTeam.com.
All right, y'all should have talked to me before you bought that domain. But anyway,
Diana
guys,
picked it.
Okay.
we
See y'all next week.
Politics of fear and hate are wrong. We love you and politics of compassion
America,
and love are right.
we are not going